Now this illustration deals with protection of conductors when they're control circuits. For example, look at the panel board, the service equipment. We have a 100 amp overcurrent device there ahead of those conductors supplying the disconnect with fuses to the contactor. But the control circuit is tapped on the line side of the contactor or controller, and the control circuit is run to the stop and start station buttons, which will energize and de-energize the circuit to the coil that will energize the contactor power to the motor. Now, notice anytime that you tap on the line side of the starters you see in this illustration for your control circuit, you're in 430.72B. If you should have a control transformer, you're in 430.72C as in car. Now, before we get into this in the detail, let's turn to page 322 in your NEC if you want to tag along with me. And notice that 430.72B2 refers you to table 430.72B, which is on page 322. And notice at the left of the table, the first column is your control circuit conductor sizes. And then, of course, if we're using copper, number 18 would be 7, number 16 would be 10. And that'd be the maximum protective device. Number 14, though, notice on a 100 amp device, we would go to the note 2, really, and we would get free air in table 310.17. That's in the 2020 edition. In the 2017 edition of the NEC, we would look at table 310.15B as in boy, 17. But in the 2020, then don't forget, it's free air, and you can see in the contactor there that those conductors are in free air. They're not inside a raceway system. So we would apply the 400% rule here. As you see from your table, 430.72B on page 322. Now, step 1, if we're using the 2017 edition, go to table 310.15B17. But if you're in the 2020 edition, that table now would be renumbered as table 310.17 for free air, and a number 14 in the 60 degree column, as we are told to do in table 430.72B. Use the 60 degree column, so number 14 has a 25 amp rating for free air. And the application of the 400% rule that we selected from our table 430.72B, we would apply the math, we'd come up with 100 amp. And notice we have not exceeded, for number 14 wire, we have not exceeded the 100 amp overcurrent device at 400% of the conductor of number 14. So we could tap inside this controller on the line side with our control circuit to our stop and start buttons that connect to auxiliary contacts 2 and 3. So this illustration 18-52 is just basically illustrating the protection of conductors when you're tapping from the line side of a controller for your control circuit. And that's what this illustration is illustrating.